I'm trying to understand how you can lay out the regions that you're using in China, but you're unable to lay out if any cotton is being manufactured in China. It's not adding up.
I will say that you have not answered to the best of your ability, and you've obfuscated willfully.
Joining us from SHEIN and from TMU this afternoon to give us evidence. Ms. Zhu, perhaps I could just start the questioning with your good self. Could you just tell us, do you source cotton from China?
So SHEIN is a company originated and developed in China, leveraging the Chinese supply chain. We have since grown into a global business with presence in over 150 countries.
But do you source cotton from China today?
So our suppliers, we do not obviously own any manufacturing facilities. Mm-hmm. We work with a wide network of suppliers. Our contract manufacturers, we have manufacturers in China, in Brazil, in Turkey. And we're obviously looking at the other potential supply chain.
In the products that you ship, there is cotton from China?
Like I mentioned, the suppliers we work with, they are based in China, in Turkey, and Brazil. Yeah. And obviously, many of them are in China.
Okay, this isn't a trick question. It's not a complicated question. In the products that you ship, will there be cotton from China?
So the suppliers we work with, most of them, they're based in regions...
It's actually a yes or no question, actually. Do you think that there is cotton from China in the products that you ship? Yes or no?
My understanding, and also, Chair, with all due respect, well as I understand that today's discussion is about international supply chain and upholding labour rights and standards, I can only answer questions as far as my position and responsibility relates to. So I'll do the best I can to answer your questions. To the extent there are details that I'm not able to provide, if you would allow me, we can provide written response after the hearing.
Right, okay. But the first question is there cotton from China in the goods that you sell?
Chair, thank you again for your patience. With all due respect, may I please ask for permission to be able to write to you about the further questions you may have?
You can't tell the committee today whether there is cotton from China in the products that SHEIN sells.
What I'm able to share with the committee, obviously we comply with laws and regulations everywhere we do business in the world. And we have supplier code of conducts, we have robust systems and procedures in place and policies in place, and we also have very strong enforcement measures in place to ensure we adhere to these high standards that are expected in our supply chain, and we take these.
You can't tell the committee today whether there is cotton from China in the products that you sell.
As mentioned, Chair, with all due respect, for detailed operational information and other aspects I'm not able to assist, I will have to write back to the committee afterwards.
But in November 2022, Bloomberg found the presence of cotton from Xinjiang in garments sold by SHEIN on 2 occasions. Are you still using cotton from Xinjiang?
I think in answering a similar question earlier to the Chair, our position is the most important principle for us is we comply with the laws and regulations in the countries that we operate in.
And you're confident you're in compliance with the UK Modern Slavery Act?
Our position is we are compliant with relevant UK laws.
Where is he writing?
Just a couple of questions to understand your level of visibility of your supply chain. So what do you have factories in China?
So yeah, perhaps if it's helpful, I'll just
take a suppliers.
Take a step back. So we do not. It's not vertically integrated. So we do not own any factories or manufacturing facilities. But we work with a large network of suppliers.
Have suppliers that make SHEIN clothing in China?
Yes.
Do you know what regions in China?
So, as I mentioned earlier, obviously China is, we leverage the Chinese supply chain. It's a country we have very significant operations in.
Do you know what regions you leverage?
So our contract manufacturers are generally concentrated in the regions where the country or as a whole, where they have more capability in the fashion manufacturing sector.
Yeah, and do you know what regions they are?
That would include South China, for example, Guangdong Province, and East China, Zhejiang Province, North China, Liaoning Province, Central China, Hunan Province, and so on. There are quite
China?
a lot of...
You mentioned every other point. What about West China?
There are... in West China, I think in Guizhou Province, for example...
Guizhou is in West China? Southwest China?
We'll come to you in a moment, but Ms. Writing has the floor.
And similarly, because this level of, because I personally have visited some of the suppliers, I'm able to, based on the information I have, share these. But I think that's perhaps, not to avoid giving committee incorrect information or incomplete information. If you would allow me, I can write to the committee afterwards.
Yeah, no, we would like you to definitely write to us. It's just, I'm trying to understand how you can lay out the regions that you're using in China, but you're unable to lay out if any cotton is being manufactured in China for your SHEIN products. It's not adding up.
I don't think you're respecting the committee at all. So I'm on your website, and I can see about 20 products which are all cotton, which I've just searched under cotton, and yet you say to our chair that you can't state whether SHEIN is selling any products which are made in China, which are made of cotton. I find that completely ridiculous. And I find it very unhelpful and disrespectful that you're here doing this. You mention every other spot of the compass, but you don't mention West China, apart from, I think it was Guiyang or Guizhou, which is in southwest China. You don't mention Xinjiang at all. And it's willful ignorance.
Come to a question.
And well, I'm asking you whether you think you are being disrespectful by being so blanketly void of answers.
Thank you for your question, and with due respect, I am doing the best I can to answer the questions the committee has.
I'm interrupting, but I disagree that you are doing the best you can. You're not. You're not giving us straight answers.
I am giving the answers to the best of my ability, and
that is not true. That is simply not true. We have asked you some very, very, very simple questions, and you are not giving us straight answers. And that, I find, dismisses the point of why we are here today. Do you understand how simple the questions we are asking you are? Do any of your products, do they have cotton from China? That is not difficult.
I understand the question, and I believe in earlier questions and answers I have answered to the best of my ability and offered on the questions I'm unable to answer today.
Okay, I will park it. I will say that you have not answered to the best of your ability, and you've obfuscated willfully.
Does the company visit the factories, contracted factories that make SHEIN clothing? Yes or no?
So the auditors, the external auditors we engage, they do visit the
employees of SHEIN.
They're not employees of SHEIN. Of course, there are SHEIN employees that visit the factories, but we don't want to just mark our own homework. We engage verified external auditors to do the on-site audits.
And as part of that quality audit, would your auditors ask about the source of the materials that they're using to ensure the consistency of the product output?
So my understanding is, as I mentioned, there is this over 140 items checklist, so they will follow the checklist and issue reports accordingly. As perhaps mentioned earlier, if we need more details on the audits and the items they check in the audits, that's something, level of information we will have to provide afterwards.
Is it your company's view that there is forced labour in Xinjiang in China?
again, back to the agenda of the committee, as I understand it, we're looking at upholding
the agenda
standards.
for the committee is, as I set out, what the agenda is. And the question is, does your company fear that there is forced labour in Xinjiang?
I'm only able to answer the questions that are relating to our business.
But you cannot tell me whether SHEIN fears there is forced labour in Xinjiang.
As mentioned, I don't think it's our place to comment on just having a geopolitical debate. My responsibility
geopolitical
here,
debate, it's a question of fact.
I am only able to answer questions as they are related to our business.
Okay, but if your business is sourcing product from Xinjiang, then you ought to know whether there are risks of forced labour in your products.
If you would allow me, I can explain a little bit about our business. Our business obviously is about...
We'll get into that, don't worry. Let me just follow that question up, though, to ask, do you think that there is a problem with due diligence for investigating human rights in Xinjiang?
Again, if there is a specific question about our business and how we do supply chain due diligence, I'm happy to explain here to the committee how we carry out a supply chain due diligence, if I may.
Okay.
So we have supplier code of conduct and responsible sourcing standards, and all of these documents are publicly available on our website. But not only, so the contract manufacturers that SHEIN works with, they're required to sign up to these standards, but not only they need to sign up, they need to fully understand the importance of the issue. So we run hundreds of trainings every year with the suppliers, and we have a robust system in place. We carried out close to 4,000 audits. 92% of these were carried out by third-party, internationally verified agencies, and such as SGS, Intertek, OpenView, Bureau Veritas. These audits are indeed intended to ensure the robustness of our supply chain and labor rights protection. When these are conducted, the agencies are particularly vigilant on forced labor and child labor issues.